What's going on, guys?
I
My name is FakeThriller. Welcome to the GameSpeak episode 4. We are joined this week by Tony the Tiger, seeing as how Epwna can't make it this week. You got the regulars. Other than that, myself, FakeThriller, InTheWorks, and Snooze603. And we're going to hit a few different topics right now. So what do we want to start with?
I feel like that one guest who was on the hit TV show and then decided to go try to do movies and failed at that. And now I'm back. Guest and friends, you know.
Tony, it's school. It's your fault.
yeah, it's my fault for wanting to graduate. I know.
It's all right. I know we kind of talked a lot about it a lot last week, but I want to cover Medal of Honor Warfighter a little bit because the beta's over, and I know a lot of people kind of have their final thoughts on it. So, Tony, since you're our newest guest this week, what are your I know you just did a video on it.
I did.
Go ahead and recap. What are your final thoughts on the beta?
My final thoughts on the beta is I like the game a lot. I think it's worth my money. I'm definitely gonna buy it. I've already got it pre-ordered. I do see a lot of the I don't want to call them game breaking or game purchasing problems with the beta, but there are things that you guys and I've covered as well, as far as the spawn system, as far as the party system. I think your last video, you guys were split on the menu system. I'm kind of a.
I don't think we were split. I think we were in agreement that it was.
What was
horrible.
it? No, Snoop, your last video.
I think it was the dual column that Chris and I both
Yeah,
did.
the dual column, yeah, the one you guys posted yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah. When you guys split on, anyways, the menus I think are a little complicated. Overall, though, it's this really nice marriage between Battlefield and Call of Duty, and I think just for the simple fact that we had one map, a night map of all maps to play on, a lot of the issues associated with like the Nemesis glow became apparent. That might not be such a big deal in like a day map or something. So, anyways, I guess in a nutshell, like I'm still gonna buy the game despite what I think are some issues that, like I said, they're not game breaking or game purchasing, purchase breaking problems. I just hope that come release night that there's a nice patch waiting for us.
Well, they did release some of the patch notes that they've done, or that they're going to do for initial release.
Cool.
One of the things they mentioned was that they've addressed how everyone was getting dropped from the game early, or just in the middle of a match. So they've addressed that.
Well, that was an issue for Battlefield 3 beta, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were getting dropped. Like, you couldn't stay connected to the servers and stuff like that. I have the list up in front of me if you were looking for it, Sean.
Yes, please.
The big things, there's a lot of, it's kind of mixed in. Like, there's a few things in here that are kind of small, but one that I really liked was menu navigation. They said it's been streamlined, including quick weapon changes and easier navigation, and that the My Gun screen now saves from the menus and can be taken directly into the game properly.
Awesome.
Yep, I've got it in here now. Couple of things they've changed was the kill feed delay has been sped up, which a lot of people were complaining about. It didn't really bother me.
That drove me nuts.
Yeah,
Really?
When I would try and figure out how I died, or if I killed somebody like as I died, it was hard to figure out.
From the slow motion.
No, not the slow motion. The kill feed on the side telling you like FakeThriller killed so-and-so.
Yeah.
It would take
that was kind of
seconds.
weird when you're like running around and you're like, oh, cool, I just got killed by something,
Yeah.
Not lining up with how it happened.
All right, Jake, what was your final thoughts on it? After having the whole week.
I just did a 30-minute video on it, so I'll try to wrap it up in like a couple of minutes.
Man.
There were a ton of problems. I mean, there was no doubt some issues that they need to fix. I wasn't a fan of the beta. To be honest, like I said last week, I gave it a 5 out of 10, I think. And it was well deserved because I think there was a lot of issues. I think the map was a poor choice. I didn't really feel like the core game was flawed in any way. But there were a lot of issues in that particular beta offering that I didn't like. Considering that I had played the alpha, it felt like a completely different game. So I was positive that they could rebound from it though, because like I said last week, the Battlefield 3 beta was pretty bad too. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh yeah, it was god awful. And having never, with the exception of a brief stint in Battlefield Bad Company 2, I had no previous experience with Battlefield 3. We were always COD players, so we played the beta and we were like, okay, going off the beta, is this really a game we want to get into? Because it was bad, but they rebounded phenomenally for initial release. But sorry, go ahead.
But there's issues that aren't going to get fixed, like the red outline that's there this day. That's something we're going to deal with, I'm guessing. I think the map was just what killed it for me, because like my buddy Sweat was saying, the map didn't play well. I mean, it was a night map. Yeah, I know you guys already said that, but it didn't play well for that particular game type, and we didn't actually get to see all of the map. Because have you guys seen the home run trailer for the home run mode?
No.
It shows more of the stadium map,
Really?
and it's actually a very large map.
Now,
So
do you
it's like
think
the
that?
Battlefield philosophy?
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say, do you think it's that you get the smaller playable area because of the game type?
Yeah, I'm guessing, but that also feeds into those horrible spawns.
Right.
Horrible. I don't even know how that made it out of alpha, those spawns, because that was bad.
Well, I think they supposedly. I saw a tweet from them saying that they had updated server side for the spawns to be fixed, and now it's on the list too. For
If
things
I was
that are
one of these
apparently
developers testing it in-house, the first thing I would do is try to play like the ultimate douchebag. Like I would try to do the worst things possible, try to exploit the game as much as I possibly could. Because that's what happens. As soon as the beta comes out, you find out all of these things that the in-house team overlook because they want to play, I guess, nice.
Nobly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, good day, sir.
Yeah. Now, so here's an interesting thing that I wanted to bring up when you talk about things getting past developers, and I don't know if it's a Danger Close isn't Swedish, right? That's just DICE.
I think Danger Close is in Seattle, aren't they?
Okay, so there's no lost in translation things. I've noticed that a lot of Twitter activity by them seems to be like bizarrely ignorant of their own game and what people like might want in their game. Like I forget who was tweeting at them about the fire team or people being able to adjust what fire team they're in mid-game, and they responded saying they were going to pass it on to the developers, and then they turned around and asked if they thought that was an important feature. Like they didn't, like they had never considered it.
That's a valid question.
A dummy. It's like a dummy response, because it's like, I'm surprised they weren't like, well, what's your favorite thing about Medal of Honor Warfare?
Right.
Yeah.
That tends to be their typical response. Because I saw the Battlefield 3 Twitter is the same way, because they were like, some kid was complaining. He's like, oh, I freaking hate your game. The USAS is so overpowered. And then they're like, what's your favorite thing about the USAS? I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. And then they like a few months ago, didn't they send some generic response back to Demise or Crash or something like that? They did some weird thing where he tagged them in a tweet, and then they responded with some generic like "thanks for supporting Battlefield 3" or something like that. Everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?"
You can totally tell the person who's running Twitter is a dude, because every time you see retweets or conversations with, like, say, Lizzie, it's like, oh, it's chicks he's talking to in depth. It was totally obvious. I'm like, that's a dude. Totally. I should have changed my picture real quick and changed my Y09. I would have gotten a response.
especially from what's his face, Daniel Matros or whatever.
Yeah.
He
Oh, is he the
always,
developer? Community?
he's the community manager.
Oh.
He doesn't do a very good job, that's for sure.
No.
He's
No,
one of the
I-
most like offensive people I've ever seen manage a community.
Is that what was causing people a few days ago to be saying they need to separate? They need to decide whether employee Twitters are like for their work or if they're personal Twitters or something like that, because people are getting inappropriate and giving weird responses back to would-be customers.
That's just an
I
awesome
don't know.
thing. I would be that guy to send some just rude ass comment back. If someone like sent a tweet to Medal of Honor and I watch, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna write some jackass back on my private Twitter.
Yeah.
I would never do
Fun.
anything like that.
No, right?
I
You don't
have
ever
been
go
known
to the
be-
comment section.
No, never. I've never been in there in my life, and I've never said anything bad either. In all fairness, I have stopped. But anyway, I don't know. For what it's worth, on my end, I'm really excited about Medal of Honor. I thought the beta overall was good, but not great. There was definitely a couple of issues that I agree with what you were saying, Jake. There were just some issues that were like you kind of want to get frustrated with. The game is definitely different. It took me a little bit longer to get used to it than I thought it was going to. But overall, I like it. I think it's going to be good. I think it has a lot of potential. What's really going to be telling is initial release, like day of release. If they have a patch available for us, we get it downloaded. That's really going to be to me, I think that's going to be the telltale sign of what are we looking at for the next 6 months of this game. Is it going to make it 6 months, or is it going to be like, holy shit, they didn't actually fix anything? So, okay, maybe I'll get a month out of this just for something to distract me, and then, okay, Aftermath is right around the corner. I'll go back to Battlefield 3.
You got till December.
Yeah, that seems to be the prediction from a lot of people who played Medal of Honor 2010.
Well, that I would say, I don't mean to interrupt, but I was going to say, like, this game could survive if Black Ops stinks. Like, remember how like Battlefield 3 got off to a bad launch? I think that's the best way we can compare it to, because Medal of Honor 2010 was just, I don't even think we should mention that in the same.
You better be careful, because there's some diehard Medal of Honor, Tier 1 fans out there, and they'll try to rip you a new one for talking bad about their god.
Oh, I know. I play on the only 2 Medal of Honor 2010 servers left on PC, and those people on there, like, when you complain about the spawns, they're like, they get so mad. They're like, well, don't play it then. I'm like, okay, well,
I want to spawn.
You and your 20 friends can have fun playing this game.
I'm actually I'm laughing because Snoov totally did a Veggie, man. Veggie was hating this game, and then suddenly he was doing great, and you loved the game. Snoov was hating the game, and then he had like a 53-11 game, and he's like, this is the best game ever.
No, that's not entirely true.
Yeah, that's not entirely true, because it's not Snoov doing a Veggie. It's fucking Snoov doing a Snoov.
Oh, come on.
Dude,
well, it's like that one night that we were all playing, and Veggie's just like, fuck this game, I hate this game, it's this dumb game. The next day, we see tweets from him like, this is the best game ever.
He had to fix a score. He went like 45-5 or something that. Yeah. Like I said, it took me a little while to figure out the mechanics, and that's not why I was on the fence about it. Just not because of my struggles, just the overall playability of the game. I was like, this is like, it's not clunky. I didn't think it was as clunky as a lot of people make it out to be, but it wasn't anywhere near as fine-tuned as I would have expected. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm holding out high hopes that this game could be good. I mean, from what I've seen from a few other trailers, some of these maps actually look pretty good, and I have no idea how many game modes we're going to get, but I mean, there's a lot of different game modes that could really drastically change how people are perceiving this game. Maybe we just ended up with one of the weirdest game modes that doesn't really translate well to the masses, and when people get in there and they see, oh, holy shit, there's like 10 different games, and wow, one of these games is actually phenomenal. I had no idea this was going to be in here. Those are game changers in a good way. So until the game is released, I can't rule it out as being a dud yet.
I think post-launch support is going to be the deciding factor, along with DLC, because it's weird not to see any ads for downloadable content yet, or expansions or anything like that. Because I think we knew about Karkand this time last year, didn't we?
Well, they've already told us about the first DLC.
What's it called? Something.
Dark Zero Hour or something.
Oh, Dark Zero 30? I thought that was just a bonus map.
Zero Dark 30.
Okay, I thought that was just a bonus map or a mission or something like that.
I think that's the DLC.
I thought it was the first DLC, because you're going to have to pay for it if you don't pre-order.
See, but the difference, though, with Battlefield 3 and the Back to Karkand is that those were Battlefield 2 maps that they had redone for Battlefield 3. So there was history with that with that DLC.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, you're going to be killing Osama in it or something.
No, maybe that'd be kind of. I'm gonna reserve that. That'd be kind of cool. Wait, Tony. It'd be weird if some we said on this podcast about what we're about to talk about totally affected the world, and all of a sudden there's riots in the streets of the Middle East because a podcast in America had said some shit about Osama bin Laden.
That would be great for publicity.
I know, right? Like, look who we are. We changed the world.
If we could do that, that'd be fine.
Game Speak podcast from Sites Riots.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, in a bad way, but overall, it'd be pretty fantastic. Like, I regret the bad things we've done, but we're kind of like...
We're kind of badasses now.
It was totally worth it.
Right.
I'm really sorry about it.
So, overall, Xbox... actually, no, sorry. Way off track. I know a lot of people keep asking us what we're getting it for, and I've been trying to answer every single comment I see on our channel. Jake, I know you're getting it for PC, I assume?
Yeah, I already have it.
Okay. Tony, myself, and Chris are all getting it for Xbox. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, I thought you guys were all about PS3. We still are. It's just one title we're getting for Xbox. All the rest of my games, I'm definitely still going to stick with the PS3. It's just our friend Veggie doesn't have PS3 anymore. He has Xbox, and he plans on getting this. So that was kind of the deciding factor. I have a lot of great friends on PS3 that I would love to play with, and I still will on Battlefield 3 and other games. It's just, for Xbox, this will be the title we go with.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say like that's particularly telling about how good the game is, because we all rarely get on the Xbox. So for me, and I know when Chris was telling me about this, because I don't think you got a chance to tell me, Snoop, but I've been looking for a reason to turn my Xbox on, and I thought it was going to be Borderlands 2, but we saw how far that went.
Yeah.
So maybe the foursome of us can finally get online and play a bunch like we used to.
That would be nice, and I mean, Jake would be able to play with us if he wasn't a PC snob. But
He's an elitist.
I play on Xbox all the time.
Listen to that. I play all the time. But I mean, we're kind of like PS3 elitist in that way.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Jake, I would love to join you guys on PC, especially with Battlefield 3. It might change. Now that the fishing season's over, like I won't be completely gone all day on the weekends fishing. So I think at that time I'm gonna take into just saying fuck it. I'm gonna try and figure out how to play with the mouse and keyboard. But
you just gotta do it. You just gotta pick a game that is enjoyable to play and just get used to it. Yeah, Borderlands would have been perfect. I got used to it mostly from DayZ, from playing.
I know.
Just holding the damn button for so long.
I mean,
Like,
you don't even have to use the mouse on PC. You can just. I know people are gonna shudder when I say this, but you can use a controller.
I know, but I really do want to get used to using the mouse and keyboard. And what it really comes down to is time. I don't have a lot of time to be playing right now, so it's one of those. I have maybe about 10 hours a week to play and edit and do everything for the channel. So I feel like if I'm going to play on PC, I want to dedicate like almost that same amount of time into just saying like, okay, I know I'm going to waste like at least 5 hours of my week this week just getting frustrated trying to play and trying to learn how to, to be a competent PC player. So again, with winter coming around, I'll have a lot more free time because we'll be holed up inside doing nothing while it's snowing. So I think I'll take that opportunity where I'll just like my Sunday mornings, I'll get up and I'll go into like a 6-hour straight session. I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to put as much time in as on this keyboard and try to be a good player.
Wait a second. You guys who live in the snow, you don't like make snow angels and little snowmen like all the time? Because like that's what I think you guys do. Like, it's fun, right? Snow
is fun if you can afford what's fun in it. Like snowboarding.
Can't you just roll it up into a ball and outside and throw it at somebody?
If you're like 10.
Dude, like, there's no reason why you can't start hucking snowballs at passing cars.
You know, my friends and I actually did that like years ago, and it's kind of embarrassing to have the cops called on you when you're 16 because you're throwing snowballs at cars.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, this full-grown man with a wife and child throwing snowballs at cars. As
Got
27.
Yeah,
Dude, you know better?
Dude, you know better, right? Yes.
Well, you can do all kinds of stupid stuff in the snow, though. Like you got to pick up, Sean. We put a rope on your trailer hitch.
I have got stories about fun in the snow with pickup trucks. We're getting completely sidetracked, but it's well worth it.
I smell a video in the making.
Some of my fondest memories of snowstorms up here is like, especially when I was in college, I didn't have to be in class too early the next day. Anytime we got a big snowstorm that came in at night, especially during the week, there's like a bunch of industrial parks around here. So my friend had a pickup truck, so we'd all go out at like 2 in the morning because they wouldn't be plowing yet. They'd wait until like 4 or 5 right before everyone showed up, so it was as clear as possible. And we get out I'd have a crappy snowboard that I had laying around, get some rope, and an old pair of BMX handlebars, because I still ride BMX. I have parts laying around everywhere, and tie it up and four-wheel drive and just haul ass and just drive around the parking lot for hours. And it was fucking fun. And it got really fun when we'd sit in the back of the truck, like tailgate down, and be like, okay, what are we going to do? Be like, I'm going to drive really fast to that snow pile, and then just cut the wheel and throw yourself.
Oh my god,
dude! It was so stupid, but my god, was it fun! So yeah, things like that. I mean, even when you're 20, you can still enjoy doing stupid shit. Like that.
See, we don't think cool shit like that.
When you're like not a teenager and you get caught doing those things, that's like you get like arrested and shit. You don't just.
It's like reckless driving.
Yeah,
it's like you feel bad. Like you're like, I should really be embarrassed about this, right? Because I'm like 20-something years old, and I'm getting yelled at by the cops for playing in the snow.
Oh god, if I ever get a chance to go back on the East Coast to visit you guys, if it's snowing, I might throw something at you. It'll be all-out warfare. But it's sad, man. Like I was telling you guys before we started the podcast, it's fucking 90 today. It's ridiculous. I want it to be cold.
That's not
right.
I know.
I don't know.
All
Cold is nice, but it's a pain in the ass.
Sorry, guys. Tangent over about the snow.
Back on track. Shut up, Tony. Did everyone get in their last thoughts they wanted to on Medal of Honor beta?
Hey, $30, you can't go wrong.
That's true. Okay, so we didn't really discuss that yet on this, have we? I know we were talking about it prior to the podcast.
No, let's talk about it right now. I'm going to look up and try and figure out how the console thing works.
Okay, from what I understand, you can go in, but you have to go in and pick like Xbox or PS3, and then you can add it to your cart. And then I guess if you ordered Battlefield Premium through them, you get it, but there's no way for them to track that unless you ordered it through Origin. Okay? So essentially, like, I don't know if they can tell if you're a premium member unless you ordered premium through Origin, if that makes any sense. So if you just went to your console and typed in, like, to buy it, you can't actually get this deal.
I'm on Origin.com, and I tried to go to my cart, or I tried to log in, and it says this site's security certificate has expired.
Awesome.
It's like a big red.
Oh. Well, Jake, back up a little bit, because this information is pretty new today. So just in case some people in the stream don't know what's going on, just go ahead and elaborate on what we're exactly talking about.
Essentially, we got an email today saying that if you are a Battlefield 3 premium member, you get Medal of Honor half price. And since I had already pre-ordered it like almost a month ago, it's been a while, because whenever I heard about the Battlefield 4 beta, I was a sucker, and I fell victim. So they said if you pre-ordered it, you get 50% off. So if you've already bought it, you'll get 50% back, and people who buy it now will get 50% off, which... See, like I was saying, like I bought premium through Origin, obviously, because I play on PC. But I think if you're a console player, that's going to cause a lot of problems, because not only will you not get it like that night on release date, you might not get it till like a day or two after. You'll have to have bought premium through the Origin store for them to be able to track that. So it's really only a good deal if you're an Origin fan, I guess.
That
for
works.
console people. I don't think there's any PC guys that are Origin fans.
So is Origin like EA's version of Steam?
Yeah.
That's what they want it to
if
be.
you want to call it that.
Okay.
It's got a very limited catalog.
Of EA titles, I imagine?
Mm. They have a few games that are off the beaten track, but it's mostly just EA games.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
Sorry, I'm heartily distracted right now. I just saw Jamie in the stream saying he tweeted out an email from Origin today, and I was looking for it and I can't find it.
I have the email.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I'm on Origin. I'm trying to.
The email said, "Dear blank blank, your
go.
membership in Battlefield 3 Premium just qualified you for 50% off your existing pre-order for Medal of Honor Warfighter. Best of all, you don't need anything to claim it. We'll credit your savings back to your account. Please note that when your order is placed, this offer was let me rephrase that. Please note that because your order was placed before this offer was available, you will initially be charged the full price. The discount will be credited to your account as a refund 2 or 3 days later."
All right, that works. See, this is now where I'm starting to regret being a cheap ass because, as I mentioned earlier, Chris bought Premium. I paid him $25 for it, and I just download DLC off of him because anything you buy on PlayStation Network, you can download it on up to, is it 3 consoles, Chris?
2.
So it used to be 5, right? Oh.
Yep, it's 2.
Okay, I know it used to be 5, and then they dumped it down to 2. So we split all our DLC because it saves money. I don't have a problem with that.
So,
but now it's coming back to bite me in the ass.
it's a good thing you now said over the internet too.
That's all right. I don't care.
Okay.
I put a screenshot of Origin in there for you guys to see that they actually have it on Origin itself.
So let me get this straight. You don't get charged for the game until it's the release day? Is that what's going
No,
on?
I've already been charged for it. Like they've already
okay.
taken. So I don't know what they were talking about.
Yeah, I was like, it made it sound like suddenly they're like your transaction's pending until the day it's released, and then they take your money, which sounded really weird. By that email that you just read.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about, to be honest, because it seems like most people probably already got charged for it, because I know I got charged right away.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just seeing this comment, and it relates to what we're talking about. In the stream chat from the Chief Zero, he's saying, "Wow, EA is signaling that the game is going to be shit by discounting and offering BF4 beta. I can see investors not being particularly too happy." I guess I can kind of understand the rationale behind that, but I don't buy it. I don't think that's them.
That's what I've been saying for a long time. Like, I feel like they're overshadowing Medal of Honor, like from the start when they offered Battlefield 4 beta.
Like, I think they're really trying to sweeten the pot, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what I was going to say.
Well, my take on it is I think they're trying, sweeten the pot by association. Everyone is very, very familiar with Battlefield 3 at this point. It's been very popular, very successful. So I'm thinking that because Medal of Honor doesn't have quite the fan base that Battlefield does, and certainly not what Call of Duty does, they're trying to make it known by association. If they keep throwing the Battlefield name in against it, people will be like, "Oh, okay." All of a sudden, now I see this game. So I'm not buying the whole the game is shit. So they're trying to, offer you an incentive to get it other than just the game itself. Again, I think it just comes back to like that whole make it known by association. Bring in a big name beside it and just give it more transparency for more people to see.
And I don't really think the discounted price has anything to do with their perception of the quality of the game. They're just trying to, hook up people who are Battlefield Premium members.
Maybe. I mean, maybe they're trying to make us feel better for getting ripped off by Battlefield 3 Premium. If I didn't do videos, I would say that I would never buy something like Premium again, because the 2 weeks early thing is the only good thing about it, honestly.
So what do you guys think? Did you hear that Call of Duty Elite has rewound itself? It's no longer the same form it was for Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, it's because they lost all the money.
Yeah, Elite service is free now with, I don't know if they've announced, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go back to their old DLC style where you just... Oh, no, you can buy a season pass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They're having the season pass now.
I will not be buying that.
No. See, I do like the idea of, the idea of a season pass and how Premium worked out, just for the sake of saving money. But given that the game has taken so long for all this DLC to come out, and dude, I'm kind of lost interest in the game to a point.
I almost bought the season pass for Borderlands 2. Thank God.
Yeah, you would have regretted that. I don't know. That game just short window of opportunity there. Incredibly short.
For Borderlands?
Yeah.
I think for the most part it occupies a niche. You know, it's not going to be for everybody.
That's true.
And I think they're highly successful in whatever niche they want to be in. It's like Battlefield, you know. We loved Battlefield when it was in its little niche, and then when suddenly people were jumping off the Modern Warfare 3 bandwagon and jumping off that train, jumping on the bandwagon of Battlefield 3, and we had an influx of Call of Duty players. Then suddenly all you heard about was just the community's going to shit because there's Call of Duty players, you know, just polluting this place. So, I mean, I think games are going to occupy their niche. I mean, I don't really have a problem with the season passes or any sort of membership. I mean, like you said, dude, it boils down to saving $10. You know, I hear and I read about people complaining about premium, but I really don't see what there's to complain about, because essentially you're just pre-ordering all the DLC and you're saving $10 in the process. Everything else is just a bonus.
Yeah.
It's actually something interesting that's been getting thrown around. Did you know, with all the backlash from them editing the premium stuff, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the weapons.
Where they took out the guns. Well, they had an open forum thing on Reddit or whatever they call it, and one of the EA guys actually responded and saying that there's going to be a new weapon in Aftermath unlike any other weapon ever featured. And apparently we're going to be getting some Aftermath like details tomorrow in the evening.
Really?
So, yeah, that was kind of surprising. Here, I can actually link it so you can put it in the description if you want. It says in there will be a sneak peek on this subreddit Wednesday evening on the 17th. So it's kind of encouraging that they actually got, you know, responded, but it's still pretty shady that they removed it from the initial offering.
So a weapon that's unlike. I'm just opening this right now. You said
it says first.
Yeah, see, I'm guessing it's not going to be an actual primary. Perhaps it'll be like something you can equip to a class, and it's not, you know, limited to each individual class. So maybe like flashbangs, maybe.
Well, wasn't there a rumor floating around or some imagery floating around of a new specialization, like a healing specialization or something like that?
Yeah, that was in the alpha early build, from what I understand, but they scrapped it because they felt like it was overpowered.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, it's interesting that if they're changing.
One of the things that people have been saying is the AT4, which people were really hacked off that it wasn't in the game to begin with, because instead of that they put in like no-skill lock-on launchers.
Right.
Because if you remember in Bad Company 2, you actually had to guide the missile into, or the rocket that is, into the oncoming air vehicle or ground vehicle.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would really I don't know. I don't think that would be the category of Battlefield multiplayer history. Because it's in Bad Company 2.
And
that explains that explains some of the tweets that I've seen. I saw tweets with these like these guys like carrying 50 cal machine guns around. They're like the next gun in Battlefield 3. I was like, that's pretty funny. And then now you guys are talking about this. Maybe it's true.
That's what I was gonna say. Has there ever been a 50 cal like sniper or anything in previous Battlefields? Because I know a lot of people have always not really complained, but just been passionate about the lack of a 50 cal in Battlefield 3.
It wouldn't work. How would you balance that? Because if you put a 50 cal in, you're going to have to nerf the damage, because if it does 90 damage like the 308 round does in the M98B, then it would be a semi-auto, because the Barrett 50 cal is a semi-auto weapon. There's no way to balance that unless you put in a 50 cal that's bolt action.
Well, I guess the only way you could balance it is to give it like aim down sight accuracy would still be good. I don't know. I guess you'd have to like completely take away hip accuracy, so you don't have people trying to run around like spamming the no scope.
I think the only thing you could do is no drop off of damage. That's it, because that's the biggest characteristic of that rifle, is that it got such an effective long range. Just no drop off of damage. It'd be 30 hit points of damage at whatever meters, and 30 hit points of damage at the back end.
That's true.
And that's how you balance it out.
Jake, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, what's the point of the 50 cal? Like, we already have a long distance sniper. I mean, the only thing I could see the Barrett doing, or the 50 cal Barrett that is, would be damage to like vehicles and stuff. But how do you balance that out?
Well, you can't even. I mean, you've got 50 calibers on tanks.
Well,
You know, you got a
they
50
I mean, you can't
Yeah.
even shoot humans with a 50 cal, so that's maybe the reason why they don't have it in the game. Because essentially, like, you're not supposed to shoot at like soft targets with a 50 cal. I mean, obviously it happens, but I mean, the 338 round is better for long range sniping to begin with. I mean, that's going to hold more damage, honestly, than the 50 cal because it's more of a long range sniper. Whereas like the Barrett is more of like, it's for going through things and like, you know, destroying walls and shooting people that are hiding behind walls and stuff like that. So
That's true.
I don't know. I just don't know how they would ever integrate that in the Battlefield 3 without making it just ridiculously overpowered.
That all makes sense. I'd never actually considered it from that point of view, but now that you mention it, that all definitely makes sense to me. I don't know.
I mean, they
Chris,
can tweak the weapon damages against vehicles and against humans and stuff like that, right? Like that's like what half the patch notes say. Like chopper damage, explosives have been increased against infantry, but lowered against other choppers or something like that. So they could.
That's true.
They could fit a gun to. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense with like the HMG and stuff like that on the tanks, like the gunner position. You can shoot someone like 6 or 7 times and they're not dead. So it's frustrating, but could be
Right, so-
technically balanced.
So what are you thinking? Like, if they were to say they brought in the 50 cal and its
If it was
primary
anti-vehicle.
designation was to be anti-vehicle, okay, but what's the incentive to use it? So now I'm thinking along the lines of Jake, like, you know, how would you balance that, and how would it even make sense to be used if
would
it's
be
just going against like tanks and the Hummers and stuff? Like,
It would be a recon anti-vehicle class. You could set up the SOFLAM and the 50 cal. You'd be a camping asshole, but you could take shots at vehicles rolling through the map while your SOFLAM auto locks other vehicles. It's an idea.
Well, I mean, the 50 cal doesn't do any damage at all in the game to the choppers. It's like it does like 1 health point. It's ridiculous.
yeah, you're right.
So frustrating when you get on the back of it, and even to like soft targets, the 50 cal, like when you're in the boat, it doesn't do anything.
I guess I
gotta
just
say-
keep picturing like the Jeep rolling out of the spawn on Caspian and having a sniper hit it in the grill with a 50 cal and having it like flip end over end would be pretty
Disabled,
awesome.
yeah.
But
I don't. So somehow we got off on this Barrett sniper, but the gun I was referring to was the 50 caliber machine gun. Oh,
like
I
the
see
one that's
light
currently
bulbs,
in the
so-
game, or like
yeah,
the one that's
exactly.
mounted-
But it's mounted on vehicles. The picture
I'm
that I
gonna
saw-
laugh if it's just a T-Rex you ride.
you know what the thing is the only thing they don't have in this game are experimental weapons, and that would be a gun that would classify as, you know, not seen in a Battlefield game thus far. Is it some sort of experimental gun weapon that hasn't been, you know, put out? Well, I guess that's not true because the Rex was technically a gun that kind of saw service but was given up on because it was a shitty
Well, I mean,
design.
they put the XM8, I think it was, or whatever, in the
Yeah.
first games.
in
Or
Bad
Bad
Company
Company
2,
2,
right?
that is, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a fantastic idea if the last two, let's say they kept the 20 weapons in that they took out, and these next 2 sets of weapons would have been futuristic, like prototype weapons. That would have been awesome.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Don't you think that would kind of
would've
ruin
been
the dynamic of what Battlefield 3 is right now?
I don't know. I was thinking of it like if you made the expansions more of like a progression, not necessarily like futuristic or anything like that, but if you made it make sense in the setting of. I know it would be hard to balance it regardless, but I was just saying.
Yeah, we're not talking laser guns or anything here.
right.
Yes,
No,
dude,
yeah,
railguns, bring them.
Yeah, railguns. There you go.
yeah. No, I'm saying more along the lines of like current prototypes and stuff like that. I think it would be a cool progression to go from. At the end of Battlefield 3, it would really keep people playing, I think. But who knows?
It's all speculation.
We're not
We'll see
getting
what
weapons
happens when
anyway.
it comes out in December.
Yeah.
Well, they're running out of October time to give us information on this, because if we're going by the schedule they used for Armor Kill, we should be getting something really soon. You'd think they wouldn't want to kill the momentum for Medal of Honor, but Jesus, it looks like they're
They
definitely
have
going to
no
be treading all
problem.
over them.
Yeah, no problem doing that. They'll kill it. Maybe
Then
they'll
we gotta
wait until. What?
But you know here's the thing though, is like you got to realize, and is that we're talking about this as like, one big umbrella. DICE is one studio, Danger Close the other studio. Yeah, the publisher's EA, but there are two games that honestly they have to compete with each other. It's not going to be like Battlefield needs to step aside and let Medal of Honor come through. Battlefield still needs to do what it has to do to be successful all the way until March.
It would almost be easier for us though if it would just step aside and let.
I mean, here's the thing: is like Medal of Honor definitely has its window because obviously we don't have the schedule is made so that we don't have DLC coming out this month or even next month. So it's got its window. I mean, we all, from everyone who played Tier 1 to anyone who's played the beta knows, and who has played Battlefield 3 as well, they know that this game, Medal of Honor, is going to be one that is a gap filler, at least until December, for like super hardcore Battlefield people who want something a little bit different that they didn't get in close quarters, that they certainly didn't get Armored Kill for consoles. This is going to give somebody like Snoop and I, and probably you, Chris, we all want something a little different. We want to mix it up, shake it up, and that's what this is going to be. And for it to live longer, it'll probably, like I said, Medal of Honor will probably live longer, but this is the gap. So it's got its place to come out to the world and have its go. But I don't think that like Battlefield needs to step aside just to let Medal of Honor take sales.
Right. It makes sense.
Laugh if the weapon is just actually the USAS back to the way it was.
You son of a bitch.
The USAS that shoots RPG rockets.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
back to the way it was.
Look what they've done already. Here we are speculating and talking about this gun that's never been seen before in Battlefield. Is exactly what they want, good or bad. They want us talking about it.
Yeah. I know, but at some point, doesn't that end? Doesn't like negative publicity like take its toll eventually? Like people are talking about how pissed off they are. Yeah, they're talking about Battlefield 3, but at the end of the day, isn't it leaving people with a bad taste in their mouth?
There's an old saying that I remember from my advertising and photography course, is that there's no such thing as bad publicity. Either way, you're still being talked about. There was this paparazzi photographer, and he came to our school, and he talked about how celebrities, they want to be in those rag magazines. They want to be shown out in public. They want to be talked about if it's good or bad because they want to be relevant. They want to they don't want to be forgotten. So
the only thing,
you don't want to get forgotten just because Medal of Honor comes out and your next DLC doesn't come out until December.
I will counter that by saying you are right to a point, but how you're perceived, either negative or positive, like what you do to gain that publicity, if you do it in a positive light, that's everlasting. Maybe I guess it's not infinite. It definitely has a time frame on it still, but for the most part, it will be everlasting if you have that positive influence. Whereas negative feedback is like flash in the pan. Like, yeah, you'll get a shit ton of people and a lot of traffic your way, but it's all going to be gone, a hell of a lot quicker than if you did something great. So, it's one of those, like, if DICE is kind of trolling us, like, where they're saying, oh, my God, this thing's going to be amazing, and they've got everyone talking about it, and it comes out and it's just garbage, then that could be really bad, because, yeah, for, like, a week everyone's talking about it, but then after that week's done, everyone's just they wash their hands of it and they walk away. Whereas if it's something awesome and they totally deliver or even exceed expectations, they're going to have everyone's attention for months.
That's true. I mean, I definitely agree with you there. The thing that I see though is that I don't see where like negativity would come from this, because we're talking about guns that are in the game. We already think, at least I think, that Battlefield has already sold as many copies as it's going to sell. They might get trickle sales, but there's no downside. I think for the most part we're all pretty much at that point where the game's been out so long, it's almost been a year now, that we're kind of tired of the the DLC schedule, and maybe that's where you're going. You don't want like, oh, here's little tidbits of information, we'll just sort of draw this process out. Are you saying that you would want it just to just to come and let's get all the information now, and that way we'll get hyped over it, not like little cookie crumbs of information?
I feel like this is just covering their tracks more than anything. It's not so much cookie cutter thing, because they're getting a lot of negative stuff from taking weapons out of the game from their offering or whatever.
Right.
Because they said because on Twitter they kept saying they're stupid Battlefield Twitter guys who obviously don't know about anything going on internally. They're just, probably just some social media. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just college kids they hire to take time. Like, they're like, okay, from 5 to 7 you're in charge of the Battlefield Twitter, and they answer generic questions that they already have pre-made, and they're like, oh, don't worry, Aftermath is going to have 5 new weapons, which there's screenshots of them saying Aftermath new weapons, in-game new weapons. And they already screwed us on the vehicle unlocks, because they said there was going to be 5, when really there were technically there were 5 if you go Sprut, whatever, MTB, whatever it's called. Then they had the 2 different mobile artilleries, and then they had the AC-130. So that's DICE's interpretation of 5 new vehicles. The same vehicle with a new paint job on the Russian side. So I think a lot of people are mad, and I think that this Twitter or this Reddit post that I linked here, you can notice a lot of people are hacked off. And on the flip side of that, though, a lot of people got excited for this, because they're like, okay, here's a new weapon. They're giving us something to feed on, and they momentarily dropped that negative feeling they had because of what DICE did. I guess it's more of EA, what they did by removing that from the Battlefield 3 Premium listing.
Sorry, I got really distracted. I dropped the ball here. I just saw checking Twitter. I'm like, how come there aren't that many people here? And I just saw that presidential debate's on tonight. Totally forgot about that.
It also it didn't publish in the sub boxes.
Oh no!
Yeah, I thought about that too, because there was like single-digit numbers in here for the first 10 minutes.
I was like, wait a second, because there's supposed to be a damn presidential debate drinking game that I'm supposed to partake in tonight. Oh well. Oh. I'll do it by myself later on C-SPAN. I was like, oh, opportunity.
What's the game, if you don't mind?
Like, they have different phrases that both Romney and President Obama say, and they say them all the time. So like, when one of them says one of the phrases from the list, you're like, oh, take a drink.
Nice.
And
Nice.
My friends, they told me about it last night, and I was like, oh, dude, totally, let's do it. Forgot. Like I said, I'll watch it on C-SPAN like at 1 o'clock in the morning, just be like, boom.
Alone.
So sitting down text messages, oh my god, did you hear what he just said? And they're all passed out.
Tony, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think you have a problem.
That's why I'm getting my A&W on.
There you go. All right, so Jake, I apologize. What was your last point that you were saying?
Oh, it was a very long point, so I have to get back into it, but it's all right.
Sorry, I'm the derail train tonight. My bad.
Way to go, Tony.
But I was just saying, like, they were just trying to cover their tracks. I mean, I think if you read through the Reddit article, you can see, like, some people aren't dumb enough to fall for it, and they realize it's just a PR ploy. Them giving us something to kind of talk over instead of, like, oh, we got screwed by Premium because they're not giving us weapons. Now we can be like, oh, we're getting 1 new weapon now. What could it be?
Right. This whole crap with them turning around and saying, starting with, okay, you're going to get 10 new weapons for the last 2 DLCs, Aftermath and Endgame, and then all of a sudden a flip-flop on that and say, sorry, even though we gave you that promise when you paid $50 for the service, well, it's not going to happen anymore. You got to wonder how they can get away with that. Like, as a company that has sold a product based on X, well, now we're not paying for X anymore, we're paying for Y.
It's a fine print, right? Isn't it?
There must be some fine print to cover their asses, because how can a company get away with doing something like that? Like, at the end of the day, I'm not really bothered by it, and it's not a huge deal. But at the same token, it's something that they really shouldn't be able to get away with. I was promised when I bought product X, I would get X. Now you're promising me Y, which is less than X. Like, it doesn't add up, and that's not right. I feel like I should maybe get a slight discount or a free offering on something down the road. I'm not talking like $30, $35, but I was promised a certain amount of product for the price I paid, and after I paid the price, I'm no longer getting what I was promised.
Snoof, you need to start a class action lawsuit.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think this could be? Because I don't like to sound like we're all like really negative on it. Like I feel like we focus so much on the negative sometimes, but like, what do you think could this weapon actually possibly be?
So let me get it straight though. Did they phrase it saying It's a weapon that's never been in
It says
Battlefield before.
Aftermath will feature a weapon in Battlefield, or it'll feature a weapon unlike any other in Battlefield multiplayer history.
Okay,
Here.
so
I wonder if it is the dinos, because I know that well, granted, this is coming from the guys that were on Twitter, and I know they're not exactly a part of the DICE development team, but I do know they said if you get BF3 dinos trending, we'll make it happen. Maybe it is something to do with that.
I think dinos would be in game though, because this has got to be some sort of like, it's got to be something that's everyone can carry. So like a knife, maybe. I know that's boring.
But
sounding,
it's
like,
the likes of which have never been in the game, or like a specific weapon hasn't been in the game.
Look at Chris; he's all getting excited,
I
leaning
think it's
forward
like
and stuff.
I think it's
like,
got to be like the lights, because it says unlike any weapon.
Dude,
So
a
it's gotta be
Velociraptor
something-
Virus.
kind of be awesome. Virus.
Oh man, maybe like a dog kill streak.
Chemical weapon bomb. Just start throwing
Yeah.
out mustard gas grenades everywhere.
You know what? If it's a gun, it doesn't matter, because if it's a gun, everyone's gonna go back to using the M16 anyways after a while.
But if it's a gun, then that's been in Battlefield before, right?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be some sort of like a launcher,
Catapult.
maybe.
Dude,
Yeah,
I want to see like World War II guns come back, like in Bad Company 2, like a Tommy gun and an M1. Oh yeah.
What about a crossbow type weapon? 'Cause
Well,
that's
there you go,
something
bow and arrow
that's
crossbow.
practical for like urban warfare. If you want to remain stealthy and you want to go building to building, like a crossbow is something that is a realistic possibility.
That's true. See, I was thinking that maybe they go old school, and instead of getting mortar, we could get like a trebuchet. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Go
Load the
medieval.
counterweight.
Yeah.
It takes 3 people to operate.
You gotta admit, that'd be pretty funny to see.
There's storm castles.
I could definitely see the potential of a crossbow, because that's without a doubt incredibly different from anything they've done in the past. Again, going off what little knowledge I have of previous Battlefield release titles, and it definitely would have its place inside of this game. I know a lot of people are going to also be like, "Oh, that's Call of Duty-ish," but whatever.
No, they'd be like, "Oh, that's copying."
They could take the Gears of
Or,
War chainsaw.
Crisis 3. Oh yeah, chainsaw. Yeah. Vroom.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know. It'd be one of those things that people are going to get all hyped about, and it'll probably come out. People will be let down. Some people will be excited, and they'll be totally awesome. And like, oh my
Could be
god,
a
that's the best thing ever.
flamethrower.
Or a flamethrower, yeah. People are going to go back to their M16s and their M4s and their 416s and shit.
It can't be anything that's gonna require new death animations, though. I wouldn't think. Like they changed the knife out, but that still uses the same animations. It just changes the texture on the knife. So I don't know I don't know if it'd be a flamethrower, because then someone would have to burn to death.
Well, there's been flamethrowers. That wouldn't be anything new,
Oh, all right.
because it's in Bad Company Vietnam.
Oh, right,
That's
right.
right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I actually
Fucking
enjoyed
Vietnam.
Vietnam. That was fun.
Dude, that was one of the coolest things
it'd be
about
like a
Vietnam
tactical
was
nuke.
cruising in the vehicles with the music playing and stuff.
Yes.
Dude, that was rad.
That would have been awesome if they kept that.
They should have music playing by the tanks and stuff. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna agree with you. It's got to be a gadget or equipment of some sort. It's not going to be a part of the primary. But I am lacking ideas. That's something I'm going to look up, and we can redress next week. I'm going to look up some, I don't know, just some new, current, and maybe future tech that's not necessarily a primary that it could potentially be. Because now I'm really, really curious. Maybe they see this is all part of their plan. Like, good.
They told you.
They don't even remember the weapons we took away. So.
All right, so this has been going on for pretty much an hour on the dot. I have another topic that I want to talk Battlefield 3 related. It's probably going to... I could see it taking up 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So, how's everyone feeling? Do we want to call it here, or do we want more?
I don't care.
Do
What's
you
the
guys?
topic?
New game types. I want to brainstorm on some new
damn.
game modes that you could put in Battlefield 3 specifically.
The
Things that are
I mean,
feasible.
Maybe you should
search
talk
and
about new
destroy.
game modes in Battlefield 4, because I don't think game modes are being introduced into this new game.
There are, though. There's supposed to be one in Aftermath.
There's supposed to be? Oh, okay, my bad.
Just,
my bad.
just one. So actually, I mean, we could just tackle that specifically. Let's do that because that'd still take a little while, but it won't be anywhere near as in depth.
Watch, it's Hotspot. Hotspot's gonna be the new game mode.
Elaborate.
That would have been smart
It's the
they
game
did
mode for
that.
Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
that's
they-
what it was called.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention. I just knew
Oh
it.
my God, Hotspot, man. And they were like the idiots. They're like, we'll put Hotspot in Battlefield 3. It'll be awesome. Everyone will love it.
In all
Because
fairness,
what else could you do? I mean, you've got Team Deathmatch, you've got Conquest, you've got Rush, you've
Search
got
and
King
Destroy.
Security now. Basically, you have a search. Yeah, okay, like maybe a search and destroy, but you get one life.
I don't think
So like
that would work though.
like a Counter-Strike-esque kind of game mode.
Jake, why don't you think that would work?
Well, because there's no respawn. Like the game isn't set up to work like that. I don't think like the maps don't play like that. Could you imagine playing Search and Destroy in Grand Bazaar?
Well, no, that's. I think something like that you would have to
Close
use
quarters.
specifically in the close quarters. And I'm surprised they didn't give us something like that.
Would
I
have
don't even
to-
think it would work on
have to
close
be
quarters
cameras.
because it's not. It's too. Because if you think about Search and Destroy, it's all about like map movement and stuff like that. Like Counter Strike, Call of Duty, they both have things that kind of clutter the map. Whereas like Battlefield, I don't know. I just don't think that would work. And like they would completely have to change the way the respawn thing works. You know, like the splash screen. Because if you restart a round, it automatically takes you back through the loading process. Because I used to have a server. And even on PC, if you restarted the round, you still had to go back through that whole process.
Like reload the map and stuff.
So I don't know. I think maybe it'll probably be something like... Maybe they'll do something like a modified rush mode. I don't know. Some way they could modify it to work on smaller maps, like a medium-sized map. Not necessarily... Because like, if you think about Grand Bazaar, that's technically a small map, but they still have rush because you go in a giant square.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
I guess I could be okay with a modified rush game type, but I guess it's not what I guess. For me personally, and I know I'm in the minority here, but I really feel that that's what this game is lacking, is a 100% completely new and unique game mode that's different from everything else. Like, it was nice. Gunmaster, they gave it to us, but it was so repetitive, and it was so difficult to deal with those the frag rounds on the MK3A1. I know they fixed it, but that game mode would still be really enjoyable to me if they just randomized the weapons list. Every time you got a new game, it's different.
They tweeted about it a few weeks after Close Quarters came out. I think it was Crash or something like that. He tweeted that he was going to the developers were meeting that day to discuss the possibility of implementing server owners' control over the weapon spawns in the weapons order. But I think I know what the game mode will probably be because someone in the chat said it's going to be a conquest variant. Yeah, Sam Reviews Games said the new game mode will be conquest and then insert generic term here, and I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like a King of the Hill style thing. They're going to use the existing flag points in maps, but there's only going to be one at a time, and then everybody goes there, fights over it, and whoever gets it earns points until they lose it.
That sounds like the what's it called? The war. That's like war mode from World at War. There's one objective, fought for it. Yeah. I'm hoping it'll be. They need to have like an air superiority mode. I want like a pure like 12-on-12 jets.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Fuck you.
It might. I would doubt it.
No, they won't do it. Like, I suggested back before Close Quarters. I'm like, that's a good idea. Put it in the forums. I'm like, okay, so I want to get buried. Never mind.
I think that's why they came out with tank superiority. It's
Probably
like
is.
the alternative.
Why couldn't they implement air superiority? Like,
They're-
I don't
Because they're
see.
lame.
There's not enough jets. Not enough.
There's
memory
plenty
for-
of jets.
No, not enough memory for all the jets. I bet.
Well, you can only get, even on like the max servers on PC, you can only get 2 jets on each side.
Yeah. Now, is that just because of the way the game was designed, or is it just a?
Well, I mean,
a matter
where
of-
would they go? Think about it.
In the air.
Where would they take off? Well, in
Yeah,
1943 or whatever the
They had
downloadable
3
game.
carriers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like 3 carriers for people to take off 2 at a time. So that's 6 people. So you
Yeah, you'd spawn on the deck.
You spawned on the deck, yeah. So you had six aircraft and then 6 behind it. Two, 4 on each ship. And they took off 2 at a time.
So that could work. I mean, 6-on-6 would be. That would still be fun. That'd be a challenge. I mean, getting up in the air with 2v2 is fucking tough.
Could you imagine how awesome it'd be to be flying around with 24 people?
Yeah, but I don't think. Do you know how terrible it would look? The graphics and everything.
I think it's so bad. I mean, there's no other vehicles. There's nothing else around. I don't see why everyone thinks all this memory is gonna be eaten up because there's X amount of jets in the air.
If they do it over the ocean, I guess.
Actually, that's a really good point.
You could do it over like a bland, background. You don't need awesome looking background from flying. You just need to not crash into it.
Well,
yeah, but
I don't know.
I can see people not being happy with that kind of product. Like I like the idea of 2 carriers out in the middle of the ocean. That I would assume that'd be a really easy map to create. You wouldn't have to make the carrier look anything special. I mean, they've already have the carriers there, so you could just put 6 of them. 3 with 2 jets apiece per side, and just out in the middle of the ocean. And then the ocean, I'm assuming, should be really easy for them to figure out how to make. It doesn't need to be overly special. Whereas if you do it out in a field, if it's just a field of grass all the way across, I think people are going to be like, well, this is stupid. I feel like I'm getting gypped in this map because there's nothing here. There's no detail.
But you're just describing a flat blue ocean compared to a flat green field.
But the difference is the ocean, there's not supposed to be anything there. Whereas in the field, there's a potential for.
Well, the way they did it in 1943 with less graphics, less powerful anything, is they did 2 aircraft carriers with an ocean and then an island in the middle that you fought over the objective. So there was still landmass, there was still terrain and detail. So it's not. That's why I said it's not impossible. I'm not a programmer. I'm not an engineer. So that's like way out of my world, my realm. But seeing what they can do with these consoles, I'm pretty sure it could be done. Especially with tank superiority. I mean, it's basically you take the tanks and you just turn them into jets, right?
That's true. I mean, if they've got 24 tanks, no.
Well, they got 2 main battle tanks. Yeah, they got 2 main battle tanks, and then 14 tank destroyers.
Something like that. So
no, that can't be right. That math does not add up.
There's 1 main tank, 1 main battle tank.
No, 1 per side. I mean,
there's
two for the map,
and then there's 5 or 6.
Is there 5 or 6? So maybe so you're looking at 12 vehicles plus people on the ground.
Yeah, just don't have anyone on the ground.
I saw a comment, boat superiority.
Yeah, exactly. Like Sea-Doos or something, right?
Yeah, I made a video joking about that because I did the rigid hull inflatable boat, which is in the game. For some reason, they add B to the end of it, and then they also call it a boat, so they actually say boat twice if you look at the kill feed. Because the RHIB boat, which actually the B stands for boat. But anyways,
I see.
I've been using that crap a lot ever since I was doing that video, and I got some crazy kill feeds with that thing. I got a one that I've been saving. I don't want to spoil it, but I got a sick kill feed with that thing.
I think boat superiority could even work though, because you need less boats if it takes 1 person to drive and 1 person.
Well, I don't understand why you can't maneuver the naval carriers or the.
That'd be awesome.
Reposition them and stuff. If they implemented commander into the game like they had in Battlefield 2, and the commander could reposition the naval carriers and make it more advantageous for takeoff and stuff, that would be awesome. And then you could sink them in jets and stuff. That would be so amazing.
Yeah, that would be pretty fantastic. And then you wouldn't have had those issues earlier in the game where the anti-air placement was too far away or
well, that's something that we would have to consider too, because that could get overpowered if you park it next to the Wake Island.
You beach the carrier. What's up?
Could you all right? So going back on the boat thing, could you imagine being able to if people got out of their boat and they didn't ever go, and you could just run right over them?
Dude, that'd be so frustrating.
Road kills with boats would be sweet.
Everybody knows that you kill yourself if you're more than 100 meters from the shore.
See, I want to now, Jake. When you got in that awesome kill streak, did you cheat by C4ing your boat up to the middle of the map?
No. Nope.
You ever done that though? Because it's a lot of fun.
No, we were driving it on Karg Island to the left of the C flag or whatever. I think that's the C flag, and We had some pretty good ponage. Because another boat came to challenge us, and you can get, what, 5 people into the boat?
Oh, God.
My God.
It did not end well for that boat.
Did you sit on him?
Yeah, we ramped over him.
Roadkill.
Okay,
Nice.
so I mean, overall, we've had some pretty good ideas as to what the new game mode could potentially be.
I think it will be like a King of the Hill type thing, like headquarters or something, because it's supposed to be like fast-paced fight for survival, and that's the only thing that makes sense.
Which I'm very happy with. I know the game has that vehicle aspect, but me personally, I'd like to see a few more game modes, or at least one more game mode that's more infantry based. So I'm assuming they could still mix in the vehicle somehow, but I'm hoping it's more like a conquest on Grand Bazaar style, where you only get one vehicle per side. So it's infantry based. That's just my personal taste. I'm not against having a bunch of vehicles involved, but I would prefer it to be just primarily infantry.
Me too.
But that's my last 2 cents on that. So
That's all I got to say about that.
Ditto Snoov. That's all I'm going to say.
done. Wash my hands of it. All right.
Did anybody get that Ghost reference? No? Okay. Me? There's only one? All right.
Ghost?
Say it.
Like the...
Ghost?
Like
The
Patrick
movie?
Swayze?
Yes. That's why I said ditto. Yeah.
It's not my repertoire of
Oh, sorry.
horrible movies.
Yeah, where's my man card? I gotta put it down for the moment.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's actually a good point to cut it off. There's a couple other topics we could get into, but it'll take too long. And this has been going on pretty long. I like to keep it close to an hour. So.
And your doggy's barking.
Yeah, he's going crazy.
See, I got my door shut so my dog doesn't come down here, or else he'd be doing the same thing. All right, guys, we appreciate you showing up. We'll be here again every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're always here. I think Tony will probably be back next week. I know he's out of school for a little bit here, so. And Epwna will be back. I'm sorry, I know I said it in the comments. I don't think we actually said it during the live stream. I apologize if we didn't. To clear it up, Epwna could not make it because she's actually doing some. She's a basketball coach for I don't know what grade or what year, age, whatever all these kids are in. She ran into issues. She had to wait for parents, and she was running late. So that's why she couldn't make it here tonight. But I assume she'll be back next week. Any other parting thoughts, guys, before we call it a night here?
Nope.
Nope.
No, I
That's
think
it.
we're good.
All right, Chris, I'll let you sign us off and cut it out.
All right, guys, thanks for showing up. You can find us here next week. Every week, actually, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, so put it on your calendar or something like that. So, anyway, guys, thanks for showing up, and we'll see you next time.
Later.